And at the top of your space, bring your feet to a parallel and hip width position. Lift your 10 toes, lift your 2 arches, and root your heels. Engage your legs in a spiraling engagement. Wrap that strength up, and it fills into your core. From your core, hoist yourself internally up. Take your hands to your side body. Take an inhale breath and feel yourself lengthen and lift up out of your hips. Stay lifted as you exhale. Abdominals draw down into your back and arms extend out at your sides. Spread your fingertips wide and circle your arms up and wide. Surya Pranayama, sun breath. On your exhale breath, spin the palms to face the earth, and imagine if you were pressing yourself up through a pool of water. You're reaching your head to crest the surface of the water, and then as you inhale and spin the palms skyward, you're pressing yourself back down through that imaginary pool until your heels reach the ground. And then exhale, press yourself back up slowly. Good, one more time. Inhale, circle your arms wide and up. Exhale, collect your palms to meet in front of your chest. Take a full breath here at Anjali Mudra. With your exhale, hinge from the hips, lift your core up, press your thighs back, keep your weight in your heels, take your hands to your blocks if you have them, and if not, reach your hands to your shins, detent your hands against your shins. Glide your shoulders away from your head as you pedal out your thighs a few times, saying, good morning, hamstrings. Bend both knees evenly, tent your hands beneath your shoulders, step your left foot back to a hip socket width stride in your lunge. Keep your left hand at the mat beneath your shoulder, take your right hand to your right hip crease, pull your right hip crease back. So this is a little self-assist. One of the aspects I'm leading in all of our virtual classes are some guide points for your own hands-on assists, since I'm not there to do them for you. So glide your shoulder blades together and then release that right hand down. Kick your right glute with your right heel and kick that right heel up to the ceiling. Lengthen through that right leg and then twist your right hip high up over your left as you pivot into a 3-leg dog here. Slide your shoulders away from your head. Reach the crown of your head towards your thumb tips. Hug your front body tight. Knit those rib tips. Good. And with your exhale breath, take your right knee to your right elbow. It's like a hovering plank. Now kick your right foot towards your left wrist, and with core control, lower down into a brief pigeon pose, giving the glutes a little good morning wake up call. Release your left foot flat on the mat behind you. Make sure you are not sitting in your right glute, but you could give your hips a little twist to the left. Good. And then turn your left foot under. Again, kick through that left heel, engage through your core, lift up and step out to a plank pose. At your plank, hold for a full cycle of breath, and then bend both knees slightly, sitting your glutes up into a downward dog. You might walk your feet forward a little bit. Here in your downward dog, press your navel to your spine, glide your shoulders away from your head, lengthen your neck, and then pedal there a couple of times. Good. Draw your right leg up, reach your right high up overhead, and with an exhale, step your right foot forward to a square hip lunge. Now glide your upper body forward into a supported warrior 3. Launch that left leg up behind you. Push the mat away from you with your right heel. And as we practiced previously in your lunge, take your right hand to your right hip crease. Pull your hip back. You'll feel a couple of things, right? Your hips will get a little level, your core will trigger, and your right hamstring gets a lot more isolation, doesn't it? Now hug your right shoulder into your back more, so you're broadening your chest, drawing your shoulder blades towards each other. Hold here for one more breath, and with your exhale, step your left foot forward to a hip width, root your left heel, take your 2 arms to a T position, press through your heels as you rise, stand tall. Collect your palms overhead and hands aligned in front of chest, Anjali Mudra. On your exhale, sit your glutes back into a modified Utkatasana chair pose. Draw your thighs further back, press your stomach up, and glide your shoulders into your back body. From there, release your hands to tent down and take your right foot back into a lunge. Square your hips by taking your left hand to your left hip, pull that left hip crease back. See how that also swings your hips a little more to the right? Good. Now lift your stomach. You can even take your hand onto your core. This is a core assist, hand to core, and push up. Feel that lift internally, inner body lift. Now take your left palm to the mat, kick your left heel to your left glute, and then kick your left heel up overhead. Twist at your hips for your three-leg dog. You might give that left foot a little flex point, circle around, square off your chest, and then square off your hips and take your left knee to your left elbow. It's like a hovering plank pose, pigeon combo. And then with control, take your left toes towards your right wrist and slide that left kneecap down the left arm. As your right knee lands, inch it further back and also more to the midline of the mat, and that will enhance your isolation and stretch. Avoid sitting on that left glute and give your hips a little swing right and left. Abdominals draw in and up. Might be a little different to use pigeon as a warm-up stretch, but it's a great way to get into those glutes, especially when you're staying active in that kind of movement laterally. And in your core. So shoulders down and back, hug your abdominals up, turn your right foot under, and kick straight through that right leg. Then it's your core that pumps you up and out into a plank pose. Bring your legs together at plank, so you are hugging your midline. Then bend your knees and sit your glutes up into your downward dog, where you might pedal your feet a few times. You might walk your feet forward. Here's a little self-assist as well. Pause with both knees slightly bent, so there's a micro bend in your knees. Look at your knees. See that they are hip socket width. Your ankles are hip socket width. Look at your toe tips and curl all 10 toe tips off the mat. Feel how that puts your weight a little more in the balls of your feet, and it also enhances the stretch through the backs of the legs, doesn't it? Now shrug your shoulders away from your ears so your neck is lengthening. Good. Pick up your left leg, lift it high, strike that left heel through the ceiling. And then exhale the left foot forward into your lunge. Pause at your lunge and lift that right leg up into a supported warrior three. As you lift your right leg up, take your left hand once again to your hip crease and pull back. Good, you'll square off your hips, reach that right leg back through space. Now, maybe you'll take your left hand to your stomach and do that little core assist, push up. Yeah, feel the way that elevates your whole upper body away from the mat. And then step forward, feet hip width parallel, pedal out your thighs a couple times. Dig into your heels, lean your weight way back until there's no weight in your arms. Your hands are making contact with the mat or your blocks, but there's nothing leaning through them. It's all leaning back into your heels as you pedal out. And then bend both knees into Utkatasana. Take your arms out first to a T, and then frame your head with your arm bones. And as your arms extend along next to your head, your shoulder blades glide together on your back. Sit your shoulders into your back away from your head. Elongate your elbows, reach through your palms to your fingertips. Keep your knees hip socket width. Make sure they're not coming together. Good, now push down through your heels, rise all the way up into Urdhva Sthasana, upward hand pose, and exhale, arms back behind you, interlace your fingers, walk your shoulder blades together, close the gap between your palms, make sure you've got a little micro bend in your elbow joints, thumbs are crossed, bend your knees. It's a little variation on Utkatasana. Now root into your right heel, lift your left heel, and take a trust step all the way back to the back of the mat for a variation on high lunge. So reach your knuckles towards that left thigh. And if you can find your left thigh with your hand, tap, and then lift your thigh up into your hand. So there's another self-assist. Your left thigh bone is lifting up and back behind you. Your right knee is bending to a 90-degree angle in front of you. Curl your right toes up and move that right thigh wide in space. Good. Give this one more full breath and develop the pose by tipping your tailbone downward and lifting your chest up. Good. Now as you release your grip, spin your left heel down and your arms will float out to a warrior two. As your left heel roots down, pinch your heels towards each other isometrically. Good. And then straighten the right leg. Spin the right arm open. Pull it wide. Lift your right side body. We're moving into reverse triangle. And as you do, your left hand is reaching for your left leg. Once your left hand finds your left leg lifts against your touch. Now bend your right elbow. Bring your right hand behind your head and neck. Support yourself there. Now pull your right elbow to the right further. Feel how that squares your chest towards the ceiling? On your exhale breath, bend your right knee. This is a little variation on reverse warrior, a self-assisted reverse warrior. Keep that left leg strong behind you, lifting it into the touch of your left hand. And take your right arm long once again. Chest facing the ceiling. make sure you're not leaning in that left arm. If anything, your left hand is kind of pushing the leg away from you. Good. Bend the right knee deeper. Then pick up that left arm and square your chest. Slow movement, no momentum. Square your chest, square your hips, plant your palms, kick your right heel to your right glute, kick your right heel to the ceiling. Twist the right hip up, almost like you're about to flip your dog, but you won't yet. We might do that later. Square your chest. Good. And then wrap up your core strong through your front body. Step your right foot forward. Lunge into supported warrior 3. And from there, you might choose to go into a fuller version of warrior 3. Your right hand to your right hip, your left hand to your left hip, and then maybe both palms meet in the middle at sternum. Shoulder blades come together wherever you're choosing to go. Lengthen. From the top of your head, reach forward. From your left heel, reach back. From your left thigh, pull back. And from your core, lift up. Good. Now step forward. Bring your feet together to touch at the top of your mat into your Utkatasana. Sit low. Circle arms wide and up alongside ears. And then press through your heels as you rise, stand tall. Urdhva Collect your palms. And exhale, hands align in front of the chest. Good. Interlace your fingers, press your palms forward, circle your arms up alongside your ears, and then circle arms back behind you. Go to your non-habitual pattern as you interlace your fingers and cross your thumbs, and then sit into your squat pose, Utkatasana variation. Weight is in the heels, glutes move back, stomach squeezes up. And this time, keep your left heel planted, pick up your right foot, and step into a trust step into a variation of your high lunge. So your hands are reaching down through the right thigh. Your right thigh is lifting up towards your interlaced hands. Your left knee bends. Square your right hip forward. Pull your left thigh wider in space. Keep that left heel really well grounded. It's isometrically dragging back. Then pump that right thigh up a little higher. Good. For one more full breath here. And then when you release your grip, your right heel spins down. Your arms float out to warrior 2. Your left knee is still bent. It's pulling wide through space, tailbone down, 2 sides long. Your spine is perpendicular to the mat. And then straighten the left leg as we move into a reverse triangle pose. Left arm pulls wide. Lengthen through your left side, but make sure you're not collapsing into your right waistline. Keep your right waistline strong. Your right hand will tent lightly on your right leg. Your right leg lifts against your right hand. Now bend your left elbow. Take your palm behind your head. Support your head and neck and pull the left arm and elbow wider to the left. Then bend the left knee. This is a variation, self-assisted reverse warrior. Left knee that comes to a 90-degree. The left thigh bone is parallel to the floor. That right leg is still lifting up against your right hand. Now re-extend the left arm. Notice that you are not leaning in your right arm at all. You're lifting your chest up toward the ceiling, tailbone down, bend the left knee deeper. Good. And then pick up that right arm with control. Square your shoulders, square your hips, touch your hands down, pour your weight into the left heel for supported warrior 3. If you'd like to go further, start by taking the left hand to the left hip, push the mat away from you with your left heel, keep that right leg strong, and then pull the right hand up to the right hip, hug your elbows towards each other, and then you'll bring your palms to meet in Anjali Mudra in front of your chest if you choose. Your abdominals are lifting, your front body is lifting high up away from the mat. Your top of head is reaching forward as your right thigh and right heel pull back. Good. Step forward, feet together, top of the mat, Utkatasana, sit low. Rotate to take your upper body over to the right. Hook your left arm over the right thigh and press. Find your leverage points here. So square your left hip crease back. Press your right palm down. Rotate your chest to face the ceiling. Pick up your left heel and shoot that left foot back. There's that trust step again. Press your right thigh out against your left arm. Find that leverage mechanic. Lift your stomach away from your right thigh. Now, think about that left thigh back there. Lift it, straighten through that left leg. Use that core power. Give this one more breath. And we're rising out into rotated warrior 2. That left leg remains straight. Both arms extend out to a T position and you curl your upper body up. Now that right arm is reaching way back over the left heel and the left arm is reaching forward, stretching your chest apart. Good. In one fell swoop, circle that right arm forward, spin the left heel down, Return to your reverse warrior. Your left hand will touch down. Your left thigh lifts up into your left hand. Tailbone down. On your next exhale, straighten the right leg. Lift the left arm, bring your arms to a T position into triangle pose. So reach your hips back. Keep your weight in your heels. Crunch your front body tight. And as you extend your upper body forward, your right hand will touch down lightly on your shin or a block or the mat. What you want to avoid is leaning in that right arm. Instead, lean into your core again. Lean into your heels, especially the left heel. 2 arms in one straight line, perpendicular to the mat. Good, now take that left arm straight down along your left side body. Keep the left arm straight, keep your left side body straight. Look forward, bend your right knee and move into Ardha Chandrasana by pouring your weight into your right heel and kicking that left leg up. Now step your right hand further forward. The right hand will be tented about 2 feet in front of the right toes. Your left arm is still straight along your left side body. This is another self-assist. So you're lifting your left thigh, your IT, up into your left hand. You're reaching through that left leg and you're pushing the mat away from you with that right heel. Now lengthen through your whole side body and then take the left arm up. So 2 arms in one straight line once again for one more full breath. Good. And then step forward, feet together at the top of the mat. Root your heels together and then pedal out a few times in an Ardha Uttanasana variation. Remember that in Uttanasana, we need to have neutral spine. So make sure there's no doming in your mid-back. You want your thoracic spine in its proper curves as you pedal out your thighs. Now lift your stomach, bend your knees, sit into your squat pose, circle your arms up, Utkatasana, collect your palms, Anjali Mudra. Rotate your upper body to face left. Hook your right upper arm over your outer left thigh. Press. Find the leverage there. Make sure your neck is loose. The shoulders are plugged into your back. Square your left hip further back. You can always look at your kneecaps and make sure they're pointing forward like 2 headlights. Now keep your weight in that left heel. Pick up your right foot and send that right leg back into its trust step. Good. Once you get your stride, find all of the leverage mechanics available because there's so many here. Your stomach is winding into your spine. Your whole torso is wrapping around that midline of your whole body from your outstretched right heel through the top of your head. Now, as we come out of this rotated lunge, we'll move into rotated or reverse warrior 2. Extend your arms, T position, reach through the left body. That left arm is leading you up. Your left palm is extending back over your right heel. As your left knee bends, your right arm is reaching forward and you're twisting your whole upper body. That's all obliques and abdominals. It's a tremendous amount of core, tailbone down. Good. Now from here, in one fell swoop, you'll spin that right heel down, circle your left arm out and into reverse warrior. Lift your chest, puff your chest up towards the ceiling. Make sure that that right side body is long. As your right hand touches your right leg, lift your leg into the touch of your hand. Tailbone down, breath steady. And then into triangle pose, you'll straighten the left leg, level your 2 arms in T position, lean your hips back, root into the right heel, and extend your whole spine parallel to the floor. That left hand will touch down lightly, but it's tempting to lean into it, isn't it? You want to make sure you're not leaning in your left hand. In fact, that becomes a rebound platform. So wherever your hand is tenting, push away from it. And that will help to rebound and plug your shoulders in. Now your whole side body is lengthening. Your left hip and thigh pull back. Take your right arm flat down. That's your reference point. That's creating context for you to assist yourself into a strong and aligned Ardha Chandrasana. Bend your left knee. Step your left hand forward as you lift your right hip up into the touch of your right hand. You can even tap your hand onto your thigh and say, hey, thigh, come on up. And reach out long through that right leg. Kick through the right heel. Now bring your awareness back into your mid-body at your core. Wrap those rib tips tight. Squeeze navel to spine and take that right arm up until both arms are in one straight line, perpendicular to the mat. Meanwhile, your left side is long. Root down into that left heel again. Make sure those left toes are not gripping. We'll hold here for one more full cycle of breath and then release. And as you step forward, feet come together at the top of the mat. Pedal a few times through your thighs. Curl your 10 toes up, lift your stomach, and then sit into a squat pose. Take your arms wide, hug your shoulder blades together, and unfold like a slow motion Jack in the Box all the way up to stand tall. Collect your palms, and then exhale, hinge and fold. So pause halfway so that your spine is parallel to the mat. Draw your shoulder blades together on the mat, on the back body. Lean into your heels, press your thighs back, and then we're moving into a jump into a plank. So bend your knees, plant your palms, and shoot your feet back. As you jump into your plank, make sure your legs are together. So if they separated, bring them together so you're hugging your midline. Now pay attention to what you're doing with your lower body. You need to distribute your effort out of your upper body into your legs. So kick through your heels. Now press the mat away from you with your fingerprints. Good. Moving into a side plank onto your right hand and right foot. Keep your legs together like they are one leg. Take your left hand to your left hip. Now push the mat away from you with your right heel. Good. Take your left arm up. Take your left leg up. Bend your left knee and pull it towards your chest. Then kick it straight back out, parallel to the floor. Exhale and crunch, knee towards chest. Exhale and kick it straight back out. One more time, knee to chest, this time into a lunge. Good. Spin the right heel down. Let's come into warrior one. Good. On your exhale breath, shift into your warrior two. Straighten that left leg. Coming back into your triangle pose. This time as we return to Ardha Chandrasana, keep your right arm lifted. Right side body straight. Maybe you'll bend that left knee just a little bit. Keep the right leg really strong and solid as you lift into your Ardha Chandrasana. Left heel is rooted. Pull back through the right leg. Lift up through your chest. Make sure you're not leaning in that left hand. Instead, you're leaning in your left heel. Now with your core, take your right leg all the way to the back of the mat. You're going to land in a warrior two with control, a nice light landing. Good. And then circle that right arm forward. Square your hips, square your shoulders, lengthen your upper body, plant your palms. Kick that left heel to your left glute. Kick the left heel to the ceiling and twist at the hip almost like you're about to flip your dog, but you won't. You'll keep your shoulders plugged in and your chest square. Now, as you return to your downward dog, pedal there a couple of times and walk your feet together. As you bring your legs together, you're sealing that midline axis from your heels to your head. Come into your plank pose. And this time we're moving into side plank on the left hand, left foot. Keep your legs together like they have one foot, one leg. Take your right hand to your right hip. Lift the lower leg up a little more into the top leg. Good. Now take your right arm up. So that's a little self-assist again. That right hand to hip. It's giving your hip something to lift up against. Good. Now keep that left heel pushed down firmly into the mat. Crunch through your core. Lift your right leg up, parallel to the mat. And then with your exhale, hug your right knee towards your right chest. Does anybody feel a difference from one side to the other? And then kick your right leg straight out. Good. And crunch. Knee to chest. Stay steady in your upper body. Stay steady in that left leg. Kick the right leg out one more time. Hug in, and this time we're pivoting into a lunge. Pause there. Spin your left heel down. Come out to a warrior one. Tailbone down. Shoulders soft. Exhale to your warrior two. Ease your shoulders. Straighten the right leg. Shift into your triangle pose. Elongate your right waistline. Make sure there's length between your right hip crease and your right ribs and underarm. Your right hand will touch down, and we'll move from here into Ardha Chandrasana. Maybe you'll keep the left arm straight, chest straight and open as you pour your weight into the right heel. That left leg launches up. Bring your awareness through that left leg. Send your core back through your hips, through that lifted leg. Make sure that left shoulder blade is back in your back. Everybody give your left shoulder a circle into your back body a little more. There you go. Now hug into your core more. Make sure there's almost no weight in that right hand. That's what gives you the freedom to step with slow control and make a light landing gently into a full warrior two. Then square your hips, square your shoulders, carry that left arm forward, plant your palms, and kick your right heel to your warrior right glute. Lift up and twist at the hip. This time, if you'd like to, we will step out into a flip dog position. You'll land that right heel, and then both legs are strong. You could even bend into both knees and then pump your hips up a little higher. And make sure you're taking care of that left shoulder. So you don't want to feel like your weight is falling in that left arm. You do want to feel like your core is lifting you towards the ceiling that you're looking at. Now, when you come out of this posture, it's also important to be conscious of your left shoulder. So you want to use your core and your lower body as you pivot on that left foot. Strike the right heel high up, back into a three-legged dog, then into a standard downward dog. Pedal here a couple of times. Before we move on to the other side, bring your legs together, hug that midline, and move into plank. As we go through Chaturanga, I'd like to invite you to not tell yourself to lower through Chaturanga. Instead, tell yourself to lift through Chaturanga, because what you're doing is lifting your core. You're bending your elbows and lifting your core. Your elbows skim your rib cage, pause and hover, and with control, splash your chest forward and up. You could flip your feet if you'd like to. Remember, our toes are not wheels, so we don't roll over our toes, but we might place our legs with control. Hug your heels together, point your tailbone down in your upward dog, crunch through your core, and then you might flip your feet. Again, they're not wheels, so we don't roll, but we do place and step carefully. Then we go back into our downward dog. We'll pedal there a couple of times and move with the left leg. The left leg lifts high. From there, if you'd like, you'll flip that dog over. Your left heel will land, and you'll pump your chest up, both legs long. Maybe you'll bend both knees and pump your hips up a little higher. Good. Maybe one more time, go through that action. Beautiful. And then it's a lot of lower body and core to take care of that right shoulder as you strike that left heel back up towards the ceiling and into your three-legged dog, ultimately landing in your downward dog. Now we're going to make a little hop into the center of the mat to cross your shins and land your sitting bones for Navasana. So you'll jump, cross your feet midair, land your sitting bones, and unfold your legs. You'll be in Navasana. Now, as you relax your shoulders down in boat pose here, you want to walk your sitting bones back a couple times maybe, and pike your hips. Shoulder blades pull back. Good. Kick through your heels. Lift your arms higher. That's it. Then with your exhale breath, hug your knees to your chest, point your toes down, walk further onto those sitting bones. It's actually your greater truncators, that bony protrusion at the top of the thigh bone. That's really where you want your balance to be. Feet are pointed. Now lift your shins to parallel and kick through your heels. Your legs are together. Take your arms long. Hug your shoulder bones together. Pump your sternum forward and up over your toes more. Good. Relax your neck. Relax your jaw. The jaw doesn't do the work. The abdominals do. Sit them up. Good. And then kick out through both heels. Beautiful. For one more breath. Hug your shoulders. Lift your chest. Curl yourself up a little higher. Maybe you'll take your arms up alongside your ears and then bend your knees. Collect your feet into a bound angle. At bound angle, lengthen your upper body forward and take a little rocking movement side to side, stretching through your low back. Good. And then come back up and take your left hand to your right knee, like a book closing. Stack that right knee on top of the left. So your legs are stacked on top of each other for a rotation here. Twisting around to face that right edge of your mat. Breathing into your back body. Heels are close up next to your glutes. Now pivot on your heels. Take your knees to point off the right edge of the mat. Take your right hand onto that outer left thigh, the IT, and rotate here. Twist around to face the left edge of the mat and zip up your front body. Deep breath. Good. And then bring your knees back up and facing forward over the top of your mat. If you have a block or a cushion, take a seat on it.